Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and everybody's had a lovely Christmas. So I'm back on the road today and I'm out and about to do something probably a little bit different than normal. I'm heading off to a couple of marks on the Norfolk coast, and what I intend to do is visit the marks and go through all the normal guide information, facilities, etc. But I'm not going to be actually doing any fishing today. So it will allow me to cover 2 or 3 marks today. There's only so many whiting you can see me catching at this time of the year, so I think you're probably all bored with it by now. So first stop today is Sheringham. It's one of the venues where this time of year it's not particularly any different from anywhere else, and the beaches or the sea will be full of whiting. What I've decided to do is, well, pop down and I'll run through all the bits and pieces so I can give you sort of a rundown of what to expect at the various different parts of the season, i.e. spring, summer, autumn and winter. Well, we're well into winter now. We've had a bit of rain about as well, but it seems to be quite bright and mild this morning. It's going to get up to about 9 degrees today, but there's also going to be a fairly brisk northwesterly wind this morning. So that's the plan this morning. I'm now heading down towards the main town roundabout. I did think there'd be a lot more people about and be a lot busier on the roads with everyone being on holiday, but that's not been the case. It's been a fairly straightforward drive from Norwich this morning. As I say, the further this way I've come, the brighter it's got. So what I'm going to do now is head down to the roundabout at the bottom, which is right next to the marketplace. When I get there, I'll take the coast road towards Weybourne, and then we'll pick up the little turn that takes us down towards the car parking for today. Both of the marks I intend to cover this morning is they've both got fairly severe walks. Now this one at Sheringham is not so much steep, but it's a little bit further than the other one I'm going to later on. That's got a fairly steep access to it, so we'll cover that when we get to it. But anyway, we're up to the roundabout now. Sheringham Marketplace is just in front there, so we take a left and we're now heading on the coast road which takes you towards Weybourne. Just up the road here you've got a petrol station on your right that does food, drinks, coffees, all sorts of bits and pieces there. So if you want to stock up before you go to the venue, that's the place to go. We're just going to sidle up to this turning here, Church Street, and take a right off the main road. Just tighten up a little bit round here and go over the bridge that actually crosses the North Norfolk Railway underneath there. So then we head on back down as if we're going into the town, and that's what you can see in the far distance there. It's the main town of Sheringham. So we're really quite close today. We're easy walking distance from this mark. So what I'm going to do now is hang a left here. It's signposted there for the parking, and then we'll head down towards what is like a little mini roundabout, and we'll circle round that, and then we'll almost be at the place where we're going to park. So there's plenty of off-street parking if you want, if it is rammed down there. When you do come in the summer, it can get pretty busy down there fairly early in the day because it's quite a popular beach. So round the little mini roundabout, and then we'll see the signpost there for a no-through road. So we're down there, and straight in front now is the actual access onto the beach. So there's a little set of steps there, some toilets, and it looks like they're doing a bit of work or something on there now, but the access is still there as a gate. So what I'm going to do is just swing up here, and you can see how much parking there is here. But it does fill up in the summer, so bear that in mind. First few spaces there are disabled spaces, so I'll just swing past them and pull in here and get parked up, and we'll get on to the next part of the day. Okay, so once you're parked up, you can see you've got quite a large number of parking spaces which are all free for 24 hours right down to that wall at the end, and it also goes right up to that fence at that side. So plenty of parking. This is also free on this side as well, I believe. But yeah, after that, once you've got your gear on, it's just a short walk down to the access point. And the beauty about this particular mark is they've actually got some toilets here, so that's always handy. That is the access to the beach. Normally it's a little bit clearer than that, and as you can see, toilets both sides. So a little bit of beach information over there. What we'll do is now get on the other side there and show you the setup. So there we are, we're up now onto the main promenade, and straight through the access here brings you onto this promenade. You've got a slope that side and a slope this side, taking you down onto another promenade, which is like the beach promenade. As you can see, it's nice and bright. Sea's not looking too bad at all. Reason I've come down here first today is because I wanted to show you the beach at low tide. So that's where we're going to be heading now, along this promenade to the left, right up past the lifeboat station to the first mark that I want to show you today. So that's literally a 5-minute walk from the access tunnel, and we're at the lifeboat station. As you can see here, you've got the same steep shingle leading onto sand, and then I would say fairly clean ground in this part here. The other side of the lifeboat station is the more traditional fishing area, I would say, and that's a slightly different setup. And then I'll just get round there now. Okay, so I've made my way just to the other side of the lifeboat station there, and then when you come down onto this fairly heavy shingle. Now, as in tradition with all these sort of shingle beaches in North Norfolk, you can see there's layers and levels, and these are the different high tide lines where the tide comes up in and washes the shingle about. So when you're setting up to fish this side, you need to find the ridge of the latest high tide line and set up just beyond that. Beach stretches for miles up there and eventually heads up to Weybourne, which is a hell of a long way. So if you can just see the waves breaking there, the nearer ones, just beyond there you've got a fairly rough piece of what they call marl, which is a chalk. So you can get caught up in that if you're a long caster. But the secret here, I've found, is to try and fish at the base of this shingle where it meets the sand. There's a natural gully there. And this area up near the lifeboat ramp has always been fairly good. Produces a lot of bass in the slightly warmer weather. Still got the odd one or two these days, this time of the year. You also get mackerel off this shingle as well during the summer months. So I've just walked a little further on now, and I'm right at the base of these cliffs. And it's sheltered from the wind here. It's still quite a brisk wind out there as soon as you step out off the front. Okay, I've come right down the bottom now, and this is literally what I was telling you about, where the shingle meets the sand. It's an area, if you're fishing from up on the top on the ridge there, you can try and judge it to fish your bait just off that shingle. It's always a decent holding area. I've had some nice bass, I've had some decent flounders. You go a little bit further out and you'll just find the edge of that rough ground. It's not actually rocks, it's chalk, but you can lose a bit of tackle in it if you get too far out. So as I say, the wind is howling along the bottom here. I've just come behind this bit of broken sea defences. To give you an idea, there's the cliffs, and the beach stretches up right up to the point there where you can see that little bit poking out. Just past there is some rough ground that starts, and it's fairly close in, and that can be a tackle graveyard up there.
But anywhere along this part here can produce some nice fish. Brilliant bass fishing. I don't know, but looking at the sand, I would also say that I can't see why there wouldn't be smooth hounds here in the summer as well. We don't hear a lot of reports of them being caught. That doesn't mean to say they're not here. So a neat little tip, if you need to find out where this shingle meets the sand is, and you're up on top of the shingle, cast down a plain lead onto the sand, draw it back slowly until you feel the shingle, and then add a couple of yards on, clip it up, or mark it on your reel, and you're away. They've decorated the wall outside the lifeboat station with this mural. That's the stages of the lifeboat throughout the years to the modern day. That's one thing I would mention, is obviously this ramp has always got to be kept clear. You don't want to be fishing on it, definitely, and even if you're close to it, if they need to launch a lifeboat, you're going to have to move. What I'm going to do now is head back along the prom. I'll get back to the access and just show you a little bit on the other side of the access. As I say, during the warmer weather and possibly weekends, this cafe's open. They do some nice stuff in there, some nice sandwiches, sausage rolls, and some lovely drinks. A nice warm coffee now would be absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, it's shut. There's the other access slope coming the other way from where I initially come in, and that again goes along a little bit of a promenade. There's another little drinks kiosk there, and if you carry on walking along that prom up that slope, and in the far distance you can see the start of the main town of Sheringham, and you've got all sorts up there, pubs, fish and chip shops, sweet shops, the lot. Just around the corner there it's the old lifeboat ramp, and there's a museum there, I believe, as well. So as you can see, as you go further up the beach there, it does start getting pretty rough, loads more rocks. I tend to stick down to this end, you've got plenty of beach. Anyway, I'm going to now short 5-minute walk back up to the car, and then progress on to the next mark. Okay, after that blustery visit to Sheringham, I've moved along the coast a few miles, and I'm now heading to my next mark, which is Overstrand. Now this is another mark with a very steep access point, and it's again one of the reasons why I haven't brought all my gear today, because it is a fairly hard plod back up with all your gear. Okay, so we're just into the village now of Overstrand, and I'm now just going to head towards the mark. This is the way I always come. I just find it easier. There's a road back there, a little bit narrow, a little bit more twisty, but this one I've always found easier. So as you dissect into the village, past the cricket club, you've got a convenience store up here on your left, and just there's a convenience store and post office, and down the bottom of here you've got the car park. cafe there on your left, and that is open. That's open a lot of the time. Very popular with dog walkers. A little bit tight around here. There's no parking anywhere around there on these bends for obvious reasons. The crab fishermen need the access. So just around the corner here you've got your pay and display car park. So there's a ticket machine here, and if you're talking about 4 hours, £7, so it's not cheap. But if you come after 6, it's free, and that's what I would normally do. I would arrive here and fish after 6. So let's go and show you the access. So there's the details on the top there, your postcode and your prices. So it's a little bit steep if you're parking during the day, but I tend to park and fish for the evening. So you've got a nice toilet block over there which is open during sort of daylight hours, I would say. And then from the car park it's just a brief walk across the green there to the top of the slope. Now this is handy. There's a little board here just at the edge of the car park, and it just shows you the White Horse Overstrand. It's 300 metres up there, and they do all sorts of bits and pieces there. Ice creams, coffees, beers. What more could you want? So I'm just going to make my way over to there. At the top of that slope is where the guy is with the dog, and show you the access down onto the beach. So here we are at the top of the access, and this is one of the reasons why, if you've got any sort of mobility issues, it can be a bit of a problem, this venue. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're pretty fit and nimble on your feet. Bearing in mind I've got no tackle with me today, but that is one brutal slope. It's not so bad going down, but when you're coming back up with all your gear on, it can be a bit of a challenge. A couple of little stops halfway up. And the other slope is done in 2 parts, and you can see it there stretching up, and that curves around and comes back, so it gives you like a halfway. It does it in 2 sections rather than one brutal section. As you can see, plenty of space on these beaches, and on their day they can be really good fishing beaches. So I'm going to take a walk down the bottom. I will go down and show you what the ground's like and what the access is like down the bottom there. As I say, today I've got no tackle, so it shouldn't be too much of a drama coming back up. You can see how steep that is from here. And as I say, factor in your fishing gear on your back as well. So once you're actually down on the bottom, it's a pretty good beach, to be fair. In extreme tides you could obviously fish up the top here, as you could back there at Sheringham, but most of the time you're going to be down the bottom there on the actual beach. And there's a couple of ways of getting down. There's a slope down onto some steps there, it takes you down on the beach, and then round this way got a little access slope here, and then you're onto a bit of rough. So just a couple of minutes walk brings you down onto this bit of the beach, and you're on a slightly raised piece here of shingle and sea defences down onto the main beach there. So as you can see, water's got a nice colour to it, but unfortunately today it's full of this weed, and that would render your session absolutely useless. It is a problem. You do get that on the Norfolk beaches, and 2 or 3 days of recent rough weather hasn't helped with that. That'll hang around for a couple of days before it drops out again. But species wise, you can expect in the spring, summer and autumn plenty of bass along this section. Get some nice bass down here. This time of the year you can obviously get your whiting. There is the chance of an odd codling along here, to be fair, because that ground out there is a little bit mixed, and you do hear 1 or 2 coming off of here each year, so wouldn't rule that out. you're also going to get your flatfish, your flounders and dabs and stuff like that. So your normal rigs and methods and baits will work along here as on all Norfolk beaches. Lugworm, ragworm, going to be your prime baits. Obviously this time of year, fish baits, you'll pick up your whiting. So if the tide is a real big tide, you can fish from up on the top behind that sea defence there, and it makes it quite comfortable. You'll be then fishing onto this ground here. So yeah, all in all, not too bad a venue. The slope is the punisher, and as you can see, there's plenty of people ambling up and down. What I'm going to do when I go back is go the shorter slope, if you like, the one that's split into two, just to show the difference. So this is the promenade from the other way as you come down the bottom of the slope, and as you can see, it stretches off quite a way around the corner up there. It's all good fishing area along here. You're fishing them predominantly onto sand. As I say, if you get a really big tide and you're on the top of here, you'll be fishing on the edge of that shale. And as you can see by the promenade there, it's covered in weed. So this coast had a bit of a battering, I would say, over the last few days. And they've managed to cage up all those boulders there and make a sea defence out of it. So there's a few beach huts up the end there as well. But anyway, the local RAF are doing their best to spoil the sound, but there you go. What I'm going to do now is struggle up the old slope. So this one's not so bad. I'm about halfway up now on this little bend. There's a bench there if you want to sit down, and then you've got just that little bit there back to the top. Anyway, I'm going to plod back up to the top, and then I'll show you the tea rooms, cafe, and then we'll head off to our next mark.